الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه. الحمد لله الذي جلب لنا من عدم إلى الوجود. قال عز وجل شأنه في القرآن المجيد فقال الحميد يسألونك عن الخمر والميسر قل فيهما إثم كبير ومنافع للناس وإثمهما أكبر من نفعهما ويسألونك ماذا ينفقون قل العفو كذلك يبين الله لكم آيات لعلكم تتفكرون. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم والعاقبة للمتقين ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla sha'nahu have given us another opportunity in our this brief worldly life to come together to perform Salatul Jumu'ah together in this place, in this time of our life. Today's topic is intoxicant, alcohol and drugs. I was asked to talk about it. It's a very vast and lengthy topic. Because of the time restraint, we may have to continue in another time, inshallah, and I'll have the opportunity to visit here. In Surah Al-Baqarah, I recited the ayah from verse 219. O beloved, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. They ask you about intoxicant and the gambling, or game of chance. قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ. Tell them, in this there is a great sin. Ithm means sin or evil. There's a great evil in both of these. وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. There are some benefit for the mankind, but the sin is much greater than the benefit in it. And then the further this ayah goes on, they ask you what to spend. وَيَسَأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ. They ask you how to spend and what to spend in the path of Allah for the good. قُلِ الْعَفْوِ. Tell them to spend whatever you have left beyond your needs. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكَّرُونَ. This is how we describe and explain our signs. Ayat means the verses of Quran, so that you may ponder over it. Quran challenges our brain and intellect to ponder over the verses of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the intoxicant in those days particularly were known as the wine or alcohol. As you know, Muslims are the scientists who invented Razi, was the one who invented alcohol. Before that it was wine and brew. Muslims are the one who invented chemistry. Alchemy became alchemistry, which is now chemistry. This is the Arabic word. So the investigation was done by Muslims, but he was looking for something which would give health and strength and longer life, and he ended up finding alcohol from this, which is hydroxyl group. Anybody's a biochemistry student here? There were no hydroxyl group. Anything with a hydroxyl group, you got the carbon with the organic chemistry, with one OH group becomes alcohol, and it has multiple chains, which will be ethyl, methyl, and other forms of alcohol. So there are some benefits in it, and there are more sin than the benefit. So particularly topic is about consumption. For example, it's a very crude example. Makeup we wear upon ourselves to look good, but if we eat makeup, it will not be beneficial, it will be harmful. Similarly, there are things which we wear to get ourselves better, but if we start eating those things, they will not be healthy for our body in existence. So similarly, alcohol has benefit for mankind, inshallah. I will try to talk about it, what are the benefits of it, and what are the harms of it for the human consumption. Being a medical doctor, dealing with the people, and all along my career, I have been coming across this problem with the youth, and especially, there's a very vulnerable age in human life. That is called the teenage. When middle school up to the college, where you are, this is the most trouble and most delicate and most creative time of human life. First, when we become middle school, we start going through our physiological changes. We become from a boy and girl to a mature person, what you call early adult, which is known as teenage in American terminology. What is this puberty does is it's a change of hormone in our body with the physiological and physical and psychological changes happening on us. As you can see, the facial hair grows, body changes happen, and the voice gets deeper, and other bodily changes happen in human, and we don't know what to do with ourselves. Suddenly we become a little more confused, we cannot find certain interest. Till the age of 8 to 10 years, a child is his Superman or ideal is his father. After 8 to 10, the father becomes enemy because he dictates him what to do. So this is all we go through. It's nothing new. Every human, regardless of ethnicity, culture, and language, they go through this experience. So what happened is that a very funny thing which I learned in my life when I came to America, there was a sign written, school zone drugs are not allowed. What kind of comment is that? Schools are supposed to be a place of sanctuary, and most drug addiction in America happen in this age, where the school is the place where they get hooked onto the drug, which you all have been through. I've never been to elementary and middle school studying in this country, but what I found is most of my youth patients who came to my office and they were found to be having problem with the drug was when they were in middle school and they were walking home and somebody offered them. So the drug dealers found a dealer who's a young age, because adults they will be shy and scared of, so they found youth. The youth offers. When what happened, mostly kids, when they find trouble in home, and the parents are arguing, and they get distressed, so they find it very much uncomfortable feeling they don't know what to do, which is one of the major causes, not the only ultimate cause. Or they have a personal issue because boys cannot talk much, girls are very restricted. So all these things come through our body, and somebody offers in those distressful times, try a little reefer, marijuana, which is known as reefer, it's a common term, which is the gateway drug. That drug leads to the other drugs. And then there is alcohol is offered in this college time. Where the most drug or alcohol binging happens in the college. The students do it in the college, the weekend drinking. And what happened is, this is where we pick up habits. Any habit picked in this teenage lasts with us for a lifetime, because this is where our body is becoming a mature body. That becomes part of life. We don't want to do what we were doing in the kindergarten and first and second and elementary school, but whatever we did in the high school to college level, that becomes a part of our personality, and we remember those things mostly. And we do it unnaturally. So those who got hooked on cigarette smoking, they smoke all their life. If they pass this college level, where you are in this age, once you graduate college level, you don't pick up the habits because the body and man is mature. A person is very mature to not to do this thing. Similarly, alcohol is one of the things which is offered. Now, let's go back somewhat in the history. Two companions of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Sayyidina Umar and Mu'adh ibn Jabal came to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where there was a question about people who used to drink. When the Prophet migrated from Mecca al-Mukarramah to Medina al-Munawwara, every Arab used to drink. They used to have 5 kinds of alcohol they used to brew, and what you call they used to make wine with the dates, with the grapes, with the what you call the raisins, and what they call injil. I'm forgetting the name in English. So anyhow, they used to make 5 kinds of alcohol. Everybody, it was a part of life. They used to drink a lot. So one companion had invited other companions to his house, and after the dinner, they served wine. Actually, before the Salat al-Isha, they were intoxicated. And when the person was leading the Salah, he recited Surah Al-Kafirun, and he recited wrong. La a'budu, la ta'budu, la a'budu ma ta'budun. He recited a'budu ma ta'budun, which means we worship the idols you worship. So news came to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Sayyidina Umar and Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal came to him. They asked, Ya Rasulullah, have us a clear explanation about alcohol and intoxicant. So this revelation came in that they asked you about khamr wal maisir. Tell them indeed there is a great sin. So anything which is sinful is forbidden in Islam in a general rule. Which is evil is forbidden. There is no exception of allowing evil or forbidden. So this revelation came in. So some companion thought that it is really, that it is not light. They did not stop drinking. So this one happened in Surah Nisa. When Mu'adh ibn Jabal and Umar came in, they asked, Ya Rasulullah, this intoxication incident happened. What do you say about it? So then the revelation came in, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, la taqrabu as-salata wa antum sukara, hatta ta'lamu ma taqulun. So, O you who believe, do not come near salah when you are intoxicated, or when you are, sukara means intoxication. Hatta ta'lamu ma taqulun, unless you know what you are reading or reciting. So when this ayah came in, some companions thought that this means only in the time of prayer you should not drink. So still some of them stopped. And some companions never drank in their life, which include our Prophet ﷺ, along with him, Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Abu Bakr and all. There are a few other Sahaba, which I just don't want to name everybody, but there were some companions who never were interested in alcohol, even though before they become Muslim. So the third incident happened in which Muhajir and Ansar were having dinner. And after dinner, they served the alcohol, which was just a culture. And one of the Ansar, Sahabi, or the Muhajir, the immigrant, he started reciting poetry. Arabs are very good in language and linguistic and poetry. So he started mocking the Ansar, the local of the Medina. One of the youth got very offended with his poetry, and he took a little object and hit on his head. And the Sahabi got wounded. So that again report came to Prophet ﷺ that this happened. So then Nabi ﷺ made a special supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, give us a clear guidance about alcohol and intoxicants. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 90 and 91, revealed the full answer. And after this thing was forbidden, which says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you believe, innamal khamru wal maisiru, surely the intoxicant and the game of the gambling, wal ansar, and idol worshipping or altar worshipping, wal aznam, and the game of chance, like taking the load. Rijsu min amal shaitan, these are the action of shaitan, fajtanibuhu. Not whom, fajtanibuhu. So abstain from anything which shaitan does, abstain yourself from that. La'allakum tuflihun, so you may prevail. Then further, next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانِ, surely the intention of the or will of the shaitan is أَن يُوقِعَ بَيْنَكُمْ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ فِي الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ وَيُصَدَّكُمْ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَعَنِ الصَّلَاةِ فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ, which means that surely the shaitan is willing is that he would find a reason for between you to cause enmity, animosity, and hatred from the intoxicant and the gambling, and keep you away from the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the salah, so will you not desist from it now? So this means it was forbidden for us not to drink. And after that, in Medina, everybody turned the drum full of alcohol into the street, and the whole Medina was clear of alcohol. Since then till today, which is 1450 almost years have passed, and nobody drinks alcohol, alhamdulillah. This one command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the teaching of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam has saved Muslim from such a severe chemical intoxicant. Now, what is in the written Allah has promised, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Muhammad, مثل الجنة التي وعد المتقون فيها أنهار من ماء غير آسين وأنهار من لبن لم يتغير طعمه وأنهار من خمر لذة الشاربين وأنهار من عسل مصفى ولهم فيها من كل الثمرات ومغفرة من ربهم كمن هو خالد في النار وسقوا ماء حميما فقطع ماءهم صدق الله العظيم. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised 6 rewards compared to the biggest sin or punishment for those people who will be in the hellfire. For the people who will be in the paradise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising them the water which will not go bad, the milk, the rivers flowing of milk, the river flowing of wine and honey and fruits, and forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we abstain ourselves from drinking intoxicant, alcoholic beverages or any form of intoxicant, we will be promised to get these 6 rewards in the paradise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And compared to what will be the sinner, the dweller of the hellfire will get, is that the burning hot water, they will drink it like camels, and they will burn, that chemical will burn their interior like as just rotten burnt. And it will be in the state of despair. Even though that will be burning, they will drink it with a thirst of what they will have gone through the experience of this. So, with regards to information about that, Islam is not the only religion which forbids this. Actually, in Bible, in Proverbs 21 and Proverbs 23, 30 and 31, it says wine is a mocker, a strong drink, a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. And then the Proverbs 23, 30 and 31, it says, do not look at wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup and goes down smoothly. At the last it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. So the other faith, which is Christianity and Judaism, and being asked, did ever Musa alayhi salam or Isa alayhi salam, any of the prophets of Allah ever drank alcohol? It was never been a drink which is allowed for the mankind. But they were allowed in their Sharia. whatever extent it was, but it is in Islam forbidden. So what are the harm, medical harm, which we talk about? Please time me up when it is time, because I don't know when to do. Alcohol, obviously, when I'm talking about is the consumption as a drink. The best drink Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, medically proven, ask your doctors, anybody, the best drink is water, clean water. Prophet ﷺ said, when you drink water, there are 6 parts of the sunnah. Look at it, hold it, smell it, taste it. Start with Bismillah. Drink in 3 sips. After 3rd sip, first sip, stop, 2nd sip, stop, 3rd sip, and continue drinking further to end up the glass of water. Sit down when you drink. And say Bismillah when you start drinking, and say Alhamdulillah when you finish drinking. That's 6 items, how to use the drink and how to consume a liquid in your body. Now, we're talking about alcohol. What alcohol does, it affects every important organ of our body. When people drink, it is one of the cause of oral cancer, esophageal cancer. 90% of esophageal cancer are caused by alcohol. When it goes into the body, it causes alcoholic gastritis. When it gets absorbed into the body, women have less of this chemical called alcoholic dehydrogenase. So they get raw alcohol absorbed and they get intoxicated sooner than men. And then what we know, that's called day trip, and all those advantages are taken from them. So the women are obviously cannot handle this thing, which even some men cannot. Majority men obviously cannot. So then there are alcoholic or addictive personality who become really alcohol consumer, and they cannot stop once they start. So what it does is, it goes into the liver. Liver is the biggest chemistry lab in human body. So whoever pre-med student should read about it, and all those even the non-medical students should know that liver, if you got liver gone, then you have nothing left to live with. So when liver get damaged, it causes enzymes elevation, AST and ALT, that is the inflammation, the bilirubin goes up. With the alcoholic hepatitis, what we call that, it also leads to pancreas, the next organ to the liver right here in our belly, which secretes insulin. That goes bad. The people become what is called alcoholic pancreatitis and cystic pseudocyst and severely sick. And 2 drinks a day is enough for somebody to get over intoxicated or considered to be drinking. When somebody, you tell them, ask them, do you drink? And they say no. They deny that they are excessive drinkers. That means they are a drinker. They get blackout. They drink to the point where they don't know, when they wake up next day, they don't know what happened. And what happened? Somebody tells them take Tylenol. Alcohol with a Tylenol, number 1, blows up liver. Person is going into hepatic failure. They will need liver transplant. So this is very devastating illness, and people commonly wake up with a hangover the day after. They take Tylenol. So if somebody does, you want to help this person, tell them to drink coconut water. That are the 5 natural ingredients compared to Gatorade, which has 3 artificial ingredients. So this is where it is something beneficial to save this person's life. Don't give them Tylenol. Tylenol gets them liver failure because Tylenol process in the liver, which is acetaminophen, they compete with alcohol in the liver and causes liver damage. So with this, there's a condition. It is early stages is reversible, the damage of the liver, but when it goes into advanced stage, which become liver get damaged and repaired and damaged and repaired, so it becomes a scar tissue, which is called cirrhosis of the liver, which is irreparable, and that is very, very serious and fatal condition. Then from there it goes to something called kidney failure or hepatorenal syndrome. A person develops renal failure because liver cannot process ammonia, and ammonia goes into the brain and cause severe coma and disorder. There's a condition called alcoholic psychosis, which is known as Wernicke's encephalopathy or Korsakoff psychosis, in which a person can fabulate. So you ask them something, they will tell you stories after stories after stories, but when you pin them on the point, they will just start getting angry with you. So they do not focus. There's also, number 1, it is one of the every fifth homeless person today in the United States is actually due to alcohol and gambling. They gamble away their home and love and family, and they drink to the point where their job gets affected, so they get fired on the job. There are 3 times of timing of drinking, which is obviously before work, during work, and after work. So you will come across, and I'm sure you guys have seen already, when people are in college, they think it's a part of life to be drinking at this time, but they do not realize what harm it can do. So I talked to you about esophageal cancer, and also it leads to breast cancer in women. This is again part of the disease. And then it also increases the other toxins in the body in human. It also causes a heart problem, which is known as beriberi, which is heart failure due to the alcohol. The alcoholics often don't eat enough food because it just kills their appetite. So they have more carbohydrate. The alcohol is a carbohydrate, beer and wine. And what happens is that their body has less protein. When they have less protein, the body goes malnourished. So heart does not get vitamin B1 absorbed. So we gave him vitamin B1. It's called beriberi, that treats the alcoholic cardiomyopathy. And that's another problem which causes, again, irregular heartbeat and many other problems. And it leads to obesity, which you know that you may have heard the beer belly. People have a lot of pot belly. They drink beer because it's carbohydrate. Carbohydrate in the body is converted by liver into fat, and the fat gets stored in the biggest organs under the skin. And the biggest place which is more flexible is human belly. That's where people can get the waist bigger and larger. And caloric value, carbohydrate have 4 calories per gram. Fat has 9 calories per gram. Alcohol has 7 calories per gram. People who drink alcohol obviously get obese and overweight. In this particular weather outside, we often come, when I was working in the emergency department, I used to find people who would come in with the gangrenous tips of their fingers or the toes. Why? Because alcohol gave them false perception of warmth. And they walk out in cold weather with the freezing temperature without wearing proper clothing. So what happens is they get lost consciousness, so they fall down and they get frostbite, what we call from the winter and weather. And often they are not eating enough properly, so they're getting malnourished along with that. So there are certain times we come across a very serious situation with them, and it can lead to a #1 problem, which we know that every year we predict how many innocent people get killed from the drunk driving. I had actually a patient, she had lost some loved ones, and she was part of this called MADD, M-A-D-D, Mother Against Drunk Driving. So many people who are drinking and driving, what they are doing is they have like a gun loaded in their hand and they're shooting people on the road. It's just exactly like that. Because if you are drunk and you cannot perceive the time and the space sensation, your reflexes are slow, people think they are getting smarter. Actually, what does alcohol is in the brain, it inhibits it releases the inhibition. The frontal lobe of human brain is the creative idea, where we put in the cycle. This is what causes us to be creative, to be thinking. So when it releases the inhibition, so person start acting obscene, foul language, cursing, yelling, shouting. And what is the #1 cause of young age? You know, most young age people, when they do crime, what they do it for? Drugs and alcohol. The most crime, most drug driving, most killing, most murder. And I have one Muslim kid, you would not believe. He was half of the Quran. He was half of the Quran, and he got involved in a bad company. He was actually going to come to Rutgers too, and involved in the drug case. They burned a person in the car. 3 of them involved. They burned the person alive in the car. In America, in New Jersey, in our area. The guy's in lifetime prison. He was half of the Quran. So don't think if you know Quran, if you're practicing Muslim, or if your family is strong and you believe in Islam. Sin is a sin, and Muslims are not free of sin. We have to abstain and control. This is the willpower. That's what makes us a better person. So people who commit crime, you know, it is such a tempting thing that even Muslim countries who have alcohol being not allowed, yet there are many people who drink in Muslim countries. So if you see a Muslim drinking, do not think that it's something impossible. It is. And I know many youth who are involved in drinking and drugs because I deal with it a lot. Muslim kids. I'm not talking about non-Muslim, Muslim children. So be careful and protect each other. Hold together. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you with this, because you are the future of this country and future of humanity. So we are supposed to be helping the others. Again, it's very unfortunate. I can only talk to my patients, you know, when I see the person. So what happened when I find the drugs? What I tell my youth patient, America is a very powerful country. Never have been such a nation in the history of mankind. And you are Americans. I want you to understand one thing, that there are enemies outside this country who want to destroy this country. You are born here. This is your country. So you are responsible to protect and make a betterment of this country. So enemy cannot defeat you in the battlefield. So what they do, they take the next generation and they intoxicate them with the drugs and alcohol, so that the next generation will be mental retarded. Marijuana causes irreparable damage of the brain. #1 cause of New Jersey HIV is not due to sexual promiscuity, it's due to intravenous drug. Because kids are buying drugs and they're shooting, and they do not use sterile needles. So there are a lot of things which this is all happening in the teenage. Nobody after teenage does these things, because we are mature and smart enough to know what we are doing. So this is something you guys have to very clearly understand, that this education is not that anyone here is drunk, drinking, or has been using alcohol. But if anybody, to know that what benefit this faith has given us. Prophet ﷺ brought us a faith which even teaches us how to go to the bathroom. So much description and detail, the moral values, the values of living, the social way of behaving and talking and meeting and doing things. So it also caused another problem in men who drink. They think they become Superman, or they become more potent, or they are more manly thing. Actually, it causes them impotence. It does not help the men who drink. And it causes lower motility of the sperm. So they get children who are not healthy. The sperm become defective, and the alcohol has a direct toxic effect on the germ cells of the human in the testicular cells, which cause the sperm to develop. So their sperms are defective. Mother who drink alcohol, or those who drug, which we call crack babies or born them, there's an alcoholic mother-fetal syndrome. That's the children are born underweight, and sometimes they have a facial deformity because of the alcohol is toxic to the infant and the baby. And in the pregnancy, they get into big trouble. And also, mothers, as you may have already heard about that, the mothers are not allowed to drink. The children are not allowed to drink. So why it says something which is supposed to be part of human existence will not be allowed by science or by the doctors or by the government that do not serve alcohol to under 18, do not serve cigarette to under 18. Yet, after 18 it is allowed? Because it's one of the biggest money-making industry. So this is why these are done. So the father who have a drinking problem, their children are born with anxiety and mental disorder and other, what is called ADD, attention deficit disorder. They develop psychiatric problems. The children develop psychiatric problems, the parents who are drinking. And then these people who drink, they lower their productivity in the job. They cannot perform efficiently. And particularly, they get lost with the job because they cannot keep up with this. And this is our all documented research done. These are medical scientific references I'm giving you. Because of the time, I'm not going into details about all these things. Now, the benefits of alcohol, let me just briefly touch. We use alcohol, which is called isopropyl alcohol, or rubbing alcohol, which we use to clean the skin when we draw blood or sterilize the skin. That's one of the benefits. Alcohol is a very good solvent, and it is a preservative, which is used for preserve something. But we do not give this alcohol into the cough syrup or medication for the children. It is now that alcohol is out of everything. So you may already have heard about it. And it is also known as mother of all the evils. There was a man who loved a woman, and he wanted to marry her. Again, this is a story for morals. It's nothing, I cannot give you a reference. But it's often I've heard, and you will hear it from somebody else also. So the man was madly in love with this woman, but she said, I'm not going to marry you until you do one of the three things. The thing which she offered him is to drink alcohol, or to kill her newborn baby, or fornicate with her. The man said, fornication is out of picture because I want to marry you. Child I cannot kill because innocent life I cannot be a murderer. Then he thought, what can I do to make this woman be agree? So he drank the alcohol. When he got intoxicated, he killed the baby and committed the fornication also. So this is why it is known as mother of evil. It leads to the other thing, a person who drinks cannot tell the difference between mother and a daughter and a wife. So with this, keep in mind that Islam has protected us from this. There are other benefits from alcohol, which inshallah sometime other I will come and talk about. There are other topics of the drug which I did not touch. With this time restraint, I've been timed up. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. If I said anything wrong, may Allah forgive me. If I said anything right, may Allah accept from all of us. If you have any question, you can ask me after the journey.